What's up, Average Dad fans? Welcome back to another video, and this is number 1 of my new review format, posting at this time, 8 PM British Standard Time, every Sunday evening. Now, there are some weeks where I will get more than one phone, and I will just have to choose wisely which one I will review. But for this week, kicking off the year for 2025, the first phone I will give my full review is this. The Honor Magic 7 RSR. Loyal viewers will know I've already got the Magic 7 Pro Chinese version, and I was actually quite excited to get this for a couple of reasons that I'll get into. Now, in this video, I'll talk the differences between this and the Magic 7 Pro. We'll talk price, specs, features, and I'm going to tell you why this is the best zoom lens on any camera ever, bar none. And at the end of the video, I'm also going to tell you if it actually has my SIM card in it, or have I stuck with Old Faithful, the Vivo X200 Pro. Let's go. Now, first things first, the elephant in the room. What's the difference between the Magic 7 Pro and the RSR? Well, there are kind of 3 differences. Number 1 is, as you can see here, the unboxing experience you get from both is very different. The RSR is super premium. It comes with a nice braided cable. It comes with a super matching case that it just oozes premiumness every step of the way during this unboxing. Your Magic 7 Pro is, well, it's more of a standard affair. There is a charger in the box, there is a case, however not colour matched, it's just a clear TPU case. And that's really it, no braided cable, no black plug, just your standard affair. And I'm okay with that because other companies like Samsung and Google and Apple and many others don't provide a charging brick, so hallelujah to Honor for still maintaining the charging brick in the box. Well, with the Chinese versions. And as I look through the specifications on GSM Arena for both phones, you can check yourself, the differences kind of end there. Other than the design, which for me is the reason you're getting this phone, is because this looks infinitely better, in my opinion, than the Magic 7 Pro. 2 reasons. The grey and purple colours, to me, are far more premium and luxurious compared to the white, blue and black of the Magic 7 Pro. And then that honeycomb camera island bump, whatever you want to call it, it's one of a kind, it's distinctive, and you'll not be surprised to hear I love it. There is some Porsche branding down the back. There is a Porsche logo startup when you first boot up the phone. There's kind of themed icons and sounds, but other than that, the differences very much stop. Your camera, your battery, your features, everything is the exact same on both phones. And that takes us to the third and last difference, is the price. For the Magic 7 RSR, for that unboxing experience and the design, I should also mention 24 gigabytes of RAM and a terabyte of storage. That's DDR5X and it's UFS 4.0 storage. So this is the full Boona. And when we talk price on the Average Dad Tech store, with discounts currently running through January, you can pick this up for around £1,000. If you wanted the terabyte version of the Magic 7 Pro, with discounts, you're probably more about £800 to £850. So really the price difference for the same storage version is about £150. And to me, being an absolute phone addict with no regard for financial well-being when it comes to buying phones, I obviously go for the RSR every time. But that's not me saying that I recommend everyone else does. If you like the design of the Magic 7 Pro, by all means get the Magic 7 Pro because it's the same phone. Literally the same phone. So that's the differences. There are a few things I want to point out before we get into the nitty gritty of cameras and talk about that zoom lens quite extensively. I just want to shout out a couple of things that Honor have continued to do really, really well. Honor have continued to kind of lead the way when it comes to value for money on a flagship phone. A lot of people are saying that this is a flagship killer. It's not necessarily a flagship killer because in my mind the Z70 Ultra is a flagship killer because it's like £400 cheaper or £300 cheaper. When you can price a flagship phone at £700-ish, that to me is a flagship killer. However, in a world full of flagships, this sits cheaper than your iPhones and your Samsungs and your Xiaomi 14 Ultras, soon to be 15 Ultras. So for that, I applaud Honor. Another thing that Honor have led the way in foldables and in candy bar phones is battery. This phone has a 5850 milliamp hour battery. Now, yes, in 2025, that's actually becoming the norm. But don't get it twisted. Only a few months ago, anything over 5,000 milliamp hours was an absolute blessing. So the fact that this is 6,000 milliamp hours, nearly, with truly magnificent cameras that we'll talk about soon, and 80 watts wireless charging with the proprietary Honor charger, 50 watts on other chargers, and 100 watts wire charging with the charging plug included in the box. If you buy the RSR, it's the international Chinese version, so you do have to get an adapter if you live in the UK or Europe. Another thing that Honor continue to absolutely lead the way in is biometrics. Honor to this day are the only Android phone, I should say Huawei as well, but we don't talk about Huawei too much because of, well, Google. But Honor are the only Android phone manufacturer with a 3D time of flight sensor in their pill-shaped selfie cutout. And that's important for two reasons. One, it allows you to open all of your apps securely, including banking apps, with your face. So if your hands are taken up, if you've got gloves on, which is super convenient here in the UK in winter time, you've normally got gloves on, it's handy to just use your face to unlock all your apps. You're not limited. Unlike on 99% of other Android phones, you have to use your fingerprint to unlock your banking apps. The only exception is the Pixel lineup. The new Pixel 9 Pro, Pro XL and Pixel 9 Pro Fold will allow you to open your banking apps with your face. However, that's not a 3D face scanner. So you can use all the AI you want, it just isn't as secure as your Honor or the iPhone with its dynamic island as well and its 3D face scanning. So that is a massive feature that goes under the radar. Now, when you do want to use your fingerprint to unlock your device, first time every time, this ultrasonic fingerprint sensor works. And yes, you heard me, it's ultrasonic. Another flagship aspect of the Honor when it comes to biometrics. So you are completely covered for security. And yes, this is a Chinese version. For those in the comments saying that China are going to steal your data and farm your data, no, they're not. Your Chinese ROM phone will be more secure than your Western phone. Take my word for it. There are security features on Chinese phones that Western phones don't have. Until the OnePlus Open Apex Edition, which OnePlus released a few months ago, branding it as a new release, it had a VIP mode, which is a more secure mode. That was on the Chinese version, the Oppo Find N3, over a year ago. China are leading the way when it comes to security, so just be careful what news you read and intake when it comes to the propaganda. And another key feature about this device and the Magic 7 Pro, a lot of what I'm saying can be transferred over to the 7 Pro here, so you don't have to go for the full Buna RSR version. The speakers. Now, even my good friend Flossie Carter mentioned this in his video. The speakers on this phone are A tier, S tier, some of the best. absolutely rivaling your best speakers on gaming phones coming from the Asus ROG 9 Pro. The bass and the mids and the tones and the vocals, everything is fantastic. I want you to take a listen to it right now and let me know what you think in the comments.
Empty hearts and neon lights, they're playing with my mind. Gotta get out of here tonight. Oh, I wanna run off and fly, and I'll tell myself it's fine to be alone, just to find somewhere that finally feels like home. Oh, oh, oh. I hate all this overthinking. Oh, 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 oh. The more I swim, the more I'm sinking. Take me to a world of silver. No more heartbreaks, tears, painkillers. Take me somewhere unfamiliar. Bring me back to where we started. Get me out of now. To where we started. Get me out of now.
Now, when it comes to consuming content, the RSR is absolutely fantastic. It's a 6.8 inch 120Hz screen. The one thing I would say is having that 3D time of flight sensor on there for security does eat into your content. As you can see here, viewing content is absolutely fine, but it's not the same as on my Z70 Ultra, which is completely uninterrupted. Where this does get slightly better than the Z70 Ultra is with its resolution. Full HD Plus here, not quite Quad HD, but it's getting very close. However, I do have to say that your Oppo X7 Ultra, your Samsung S24 and soon to be S25 Ultra do have a higher resolution panel, almost not noticeable to the human eye, but it's a spec that I feel they could have included on this quite easily. In terms of the flat panel, the squared off edges, the rest of the design and build, it's IP69 water dust resistant, so you can go ahead and swim with this for 30-40 minutes and have no issues whatsoever. So, features wise, build quality wise, in my opinion, value for money, this phone has ticked every box for me. What I want to talk about now, and this is where my reviews slightly differ, is my experience using the device as a Chinese ROM out there in the big bad world. And no, not just in the UK. A lot of you watching, and thank you for watching and subscribing. We're over 52,000 subs. Smash subscribe to get me to 100k by the end of the year, and I'll be giving away 5 phones if we get there. Yes, 5 phones, 100k. So simply tell a friend, if all of you done that, we'd be at 100k by like tomorrow, so go ahead and do it. Anyway, I digress. I used the Honor Magic 7 RSR for a full week in Las Vegas attending the CES. All of the photos and videos that I am now going to interject through this video were taken with the RSR. I had 0 issues with connection. My Sky Mobile SIM simply connected to whatever tower was there. I think it was AT&T, I'm not entirely sure. But I got full 5G, full GPS, all the good stuff that I wanted, downloading movies and data and everything I wanted on my device with no workarounds. WhatsApp, Instagram, all Google apps, everything works. Like on the Vivo, like on your Oppos and Xiaomis, Honor have Google natively built in. You simply just go to the settings menu, go to users and accounts and toggle on the Google Play services. From there, download the Google Play Store from the Honor App Store, or if you've got a Vivo, the Vivo App Store and so forth. And that's it. You've got your Google Contacts, your Google Calendar, your Gmail, you've got everything synced. All of my contacts from my Vivo X200 Pro Global that I was using at the time just transferred over instantly. As you can see here, I'm transferring my data from the Pixel 9 Pro Fold to the Honor Magic RSR using device clone every app, every contact, every calendar, everything syncs, and it takes about 3 or 4 minutes, depending on how much data you have to transfer over. And if you've got an RRID and you save up all your photos and everything to the cloud, just log into that on the phone and everything there. You've got the Honor Cloud. It's so easy to own a Chinese ROM these days. Not once have I had to go into an app and click on app info and change the battery settings or change anything to auto start. I just get all my notifications on the lock screen with no issues. Now, while in Vegas, I had all good intentions to do a day in the life. Here you can see actual footage of me recording the talking head segments. Yes, I had recorded about 45 minutes worth of talking head. I even got to the stage of adding some elements from Google Photos and samples I'd taken, but for whatever reason, AirDrop would not work from my iPhone to my laptop, even though both were connected to the hotel Wi-Fi. Don't know if it was a firewall or security measure. It must have been, because AirDrop works perfectly fine in my house. Anyway, all that being said, I didn't get round to making a video. So from this talking head stuff that you're seeing here, I am talking about how blown away I was with the battery. I took it off the charger at about 5 a.m. I couldn't sleep, jet lag, you know the deal. Now, I then had a full day at CES using Google Maps, photos, lots of 4K video. I mean, a lot of video, a lot of WhatsApp and Instagram posting updates to the chat, Average Dad members, sign up through Buy Me a Coffee. Yeah, just doing a hell of a lot, a heap of it. Once I finished CES, I then decided to just walk the strip, check out Google Maps again and see what hotels I wanted to go into. Once I got back to the hotel later on, it was probably about 10 or 12 hours later, maybe 5 p.m. It was on 65%. So for a full 12 hours of using it fairly heavily, I mean, I should also say when I had my lunch, I was watching YouTube, 35%. That's absolutely fantastic. There are some phones out there from last year that if you use your phone quite heavily through a 12-hour period, you'd probably be down to about 20 or 30%. But with the large 5850 mAh battery, with the Snapdragon Elite chip, which is the #1 SoC in my opinion, no battery anxiety. In fact, I'll let you in a little secret, I didn't charge my phone that night. I charged it the following night. 2 days, full attendance at CES, full using YouTube and WhatsApp and other social medias, no anxiety whatsoever. And as mentioned, if you do want to charge it, there's 80 watts wireless and 100 watts wired on deck. So now I guess we get to the juicy stuff, the cameras. I've teased you a little bit, I've shown a couple of photos, but I really, really want to stress how just unbelievable the AI zoom is. Now, before we get to AI zoom, I do want to talk about the 50 megapixel main and the 50 megapixel ultra wide. They produce some really fantastic shots. Portrait mode is great. The one drawback I have noticed, and it's not a drawback for most people, is there's no 8K video recording, which is odd because of the absolute flagship sensors it uses and the 8 Elite chips. There's no reason you couldn't include it. And no 120 frames per second at 4K. Again, that just seems like an odd omission. Whether that'll come in an update, because it's absolutely possible to include both of those in an update, time will tell. But right now, 60 frames per second, 4K is the most you're going to get. Now, as mentioned, the wide and ultra wide lenses are fantastic, really good, comparable to any flagships out there. Maybe the Vivo X200 Pro's portrait mode is better than the Honor, I would say. But in terms of normal main and normal ultra wide, you're not much to choose between them. It's a 1/1.4 inch sensor as well, same as on the Vivo. So yeah, it lets in the same light. You're going to be fine. But again, I just want to get to this zoom with a caveat, and a lot of people are going to be hammering away at the keyboard here. The lens itself is the largest periscope zoom lens on any device, along with the X200 Pro and the X100 Ultra. The 200 meg 1/1.4 inch sensor is the largest you can get. So hardware wise, it is the best. So calm down with what I'm about to say. Where the Honor takes a leap above is AI zoom. An absolute game changer. And before you are commenting, but it's all fake. Folks, all photos and videos taken on modern day smartphones are technically fake because they're using post-processing. Your Google Pixel is filling in the gaps, sharpening up things, changing colours here and there. So's your iPhone, so's your Xiaomi or your Oppo or your Honor. So AI zoom is not a new thing. The X200 Pro does the same thing. But Honor have gone way ahead and jumped everyone to first place. Here are some amazing examples going from ultra wide all the way up to max zoom with the AI zoom enabled. This doesn't just make things sharper. In some cases, in daylight, it's almost an optical looking image at 100x. And never, ever, ever did I ever think we'd get here. As I can see, here are some examples. Outside in daylight, inside the airport, you can read a sign. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, why do I need that much zoom? Without getting too deep or personal here, I do. I love to travel. I love it. But reading departure gates for me is quite tricky because I have an eye condition. So I am that guy that goes to the departure gate screen, stands as close as I can to it, takes a photo, then zooms in to make sure I've got the right departure gate. With the RSR, as you can see here, I could just be sitting down in the seating area, find any departure gate thing in the airport and zoom right in on it, and it's a clear picture that I can read the gate from. Folks, you just have to trust me. In real life experience, this is the only phone I have ever been able to do that with, even including the X200 Pro and the X100 Ultra. I've said it in the chat already and I'm telling you now, the best zoom lens for me, for an accessibility point of view, not just for perving at some bird you've seen 200 feet away, it's absolutely second to none. A true game changer for me, particularly when it comes to travelling in airports or tiny text. Yeah, super, super impressed. And it doesn't look that fake. It doesn't overpower you. It's not too... You can see the detail. I'm just going to show you here again. This Mercedes has rear parking sensors. And you can see them very clearly. That little circle is a rear parking sensor. AI hasn't just added that. It's taking the photo of the image. It's just sharpening it for you. And as I say, that's as close to optical as I've ever seen it on a max zoom image, or these all max zoom images. So, I said at the start of the video, you all know my affinity to Vivo. Have I got my SIM card, daily driver, in the Honor Magic 7 RSR or the Vivo X200 Pro? Now, when I show you which phone it is, I want you to stay calm. And I also want you to know that if you have the other phone, you have the best phone in the world. We're just so spoilt that there's so many people competing neck and neck at the top of especially the candy bar lane for phones. So, I'm going to tell you now, my SIM card has and will be in the Magic 7 RSR until probably the global version of the RSR comes out. And there's no real reason for that. There's been no drawbacks for me. It's just, global version seems to be nicer all round software wise because I didn't touch on it too much. But there are certain software features that don't work. Our friend Flossie, again, I don't want to bring up to bash him. Flossie's a legend. He mentioned in his Honor Magic 7 Pro Global video just yesterday, I think, or the other day it came out, that the Chinese version is so much cheaper, and then he specifically listed out the Google Gemini, the Circle to Search, and he's like, you could just pick it up in the Chinese version for like $700. Categorically not true. You cannot use Google Gemini, Circle to Search on the Chinese version. You cannot use it on the Magic 7 RSR. You are stuck with Yo-Yo. And here's a little example of how well Yo-Yo Assistant works on my RSR.
What's the weather like today?
In Edinburgh. As of 21:52 on January 19, 2025, I'm afraid I can't provide you with the exact weather conditions for today since real-time weather data isn't directly accessible here. However, typically, you can obtain updated weather information by checking local weather forecasts or using weather apps. Generally speaking, weather in Edinburgh can vary greatly throughout the year, with cooler temperatures.
Do I have anything in my calendar today?
I'm sorry. As Yo-Yo Assistant, I don't have access to your calendar or any personal reminders you may have set up. If you want to check your calendar for any tasks or appointments, I suggest using the calendar app.
So yeah, it's not great, is it? It has access to all my location, photos, everything, calendars. It just will not make that connection because I'm outside of China. It's a Chinese assistant. Weirdly, it does talk to me in English, which is nice. Takes a while, but it does talk to me in English, so that's good. The other thing I would say is, a feature on the 7 Pro and the RSR is satellite communication. So messaging, phone calls, if you're stranded, SOS, China only. So, yeah, just so we're aware, those are China only. So, there we have it. The first review is in the can for 2025. And things are looking good. If this is the first phone I've reviewed, imagine what the specs and everything around the last phone I'll review in 2025 will be. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. As mentioned, I'll be back soon with much more content. I do have the Sharp Aquos R9 Pro. I'll show you. This is the phone I mentioned in our video, that Japanese phone that I've never had before. The Sharp Aquos R9 Pro. I'll be dropping my first impressions in a couple of days. It's a global version. Yes, it looks like the Xiaomi 14 Ultra. Yeah, the cameras are, well, they're a mixed bag, but yeah, kind of blows you away a little bit. So I'll be back soon with my first impressions of that. And as I mentioned already, smash like, hit subscribe, get me to 100k, and I'll look after you. Until next time.